Good morning. I invite you to how we could be of service.
Yeah, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everybody.
Yeah, I'd say how can we be of service? It's by giving and receiving.
Mhm.
Not one without the other. Just like our breath. Constant flow.
Thank you, Pascal.
I heard giving and receiving in balance.
Yes. You heard that right. One cannot occur without the other.
The ebb and flow. So for this morning, I think my propensity is for listening to be of service.
Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Allison.
I just want to acknowledge that I'm learning exactly that on a number of levels. And actually that all of us are.
You're learning what, right?
Learning, giving and receiving in balance.
Thanks.
What does giving and receiving out of balance look like?
Conflict. Yeah, constriction. Tension.
Resistance.
Opposition.
Thank you. Those are how to notice unbalanced.
And what does it feel to be in balance with giving and receiving? For me, it feels like flow, expanding, free, light.
Matching, amplifying, compounding. Yes, and adding to. I want to honor the pause, the break. The silence. The intention. Between, as an example, good morning. And just when I said good morning, and there was able to be, we were able to sit in the tension. You were able to sit in the tension. I was able to sit in the tension. Then we could examine what comes up. Then we could choose what to do. That's listening and speaking on all levels or on multiple levels, which is how we give and receive. Which is a way. So we're always giving and receiving tension.
I think for today, I'm going to choose a quiet momentum of giving and receiving. In the listening.
Yeah, Allison, I heard the concept of stillness in what you said. My heart desires stillness this morning.
I give the intention of health.
I'll receive that and I'll give the intention of wealth.
And I will receive that. And I would add relationship. That's my word of the day. And looking at my relationship to health, say, am I giving what it needs to so the body can thrive? So looking at the relationship of giving and receiving in all aspects of my life. And create a balance. That's what I choose.
I'm going with stillness as today's word.
Yeah, this morning I was muscle testing my chakra, and all the front ones were open, and the back ones, I don't know which one, but at least one of them was closed. So it was there's an imbalance between, because I believe like giving is the front one and receiving is the back one, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, so there's an imbalance. So and if I pinpoint which one that need to be opened, then I'll open it and see what happens. No expectation.
Just curiosity, Pascal.
Hmm?
Just curiosity.
Yeah. Yes. Willing to be curious.
Yeah, it's such a lovely energy, curiosity.
Mhm.
There's a lot of momentum in it.
Yeah.
Things are happening.
Yeah, things are definitely moving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even though I don't see chakra with my physical eyes, I trust my inner guidance to tell me which one are open and which one are closed.
Mm-hmm.
And have faith that what I'm getting is the truth.
May my chakras be open and in harmony with peace, love, wealth, health, abundantly.
Power and free.
Expanding momentum. Thank you for your gifts.
Mm. What a great way to start the day.
Yeah, we arrive here and now without past or future.
Mm-hmm.
Only curiosity.
Only curiosity.
From one moment to the next.
And somehow curiosity is enough.
Oh, I have the cardinal singing outside and the woodpecker, which is quite unusual. He's usually up at 4 o'clock. I don't know why he's going in again now. I'm very happy. I'm going to go out and see the birds. Thank you so much again. Have a great day, guys.
Bye, Allison.
You too, Allison. Those woodpeckers are a really good example of curiosity. Because they can't see what it is that they're pecking for, but they know it's there.
I didn't know they can't see. That's really interesting.
Well, they can see, but they can't see what they're pecking for because it's underneath the bark of the tree.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah. So they just somehow know that it's there and they go after it with pinpoint accuracy.
Yeah. Do you think they know it's my sighting? My sighting of my house? Can you just tell them like not use a tree instead?
Yeah.
This is my house.
I think it's more they don't care, Pascal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And
not
maybe-
just don't know.
Maybe
They
a little
don't
bit
care.
of both. Yeah. Yeah.
They are in full presence. Eh?
They know what's going on under that siding, man.
Oh, yeah. There's a big house in there. Yeah. Oh my God.
Maybe they're telling you you have a bug problem.
A bug problem? Oh, maybe. Maybe. Maybe they're here to help, right? Yeah. Let's stay positive. Hmm. How was your experience of giving and receiving yesterday, Jesse, while you were playing volleyball?
Important. Yeah. Showing up, being there, helping, supporting. You can get a whole lot more practice in the same amount of time. So
Nice.
it was giving and receiving relationship. Yeah. And it can only build momentum. I'll take that all day long.
Yeah.
And there was 4 other opportunities through the day.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she's preparing. So yeah, I'm gonna help for that. Just as much as I helped the other one prepare. Equally different.
Mm-hmm.
Showing up with what they want. Because the other 4 times she doesn't want to be anywhere near me. So she thinks.
Is that what you sense, or is that what she told you?
Yeah, those are that's the obvious, yes.
Mm. Because sometimes we assume
Yeah, that's the surface. Yeah, that's the surface expression of a teenage
Right.
girl.
Did you have
So I
a
know-
similar experience with your son?
Not as much.
No.
Not as much as that. Not as much drama-ish as that one.
Mm.
And do I stoke the fire sometimes? You bet. So if I'm being fun and weird and she doesn't like that, I'll be even more fun and weird.
Yeah, Jesse, I heard that "oh dad" thing quite often myself.
Stop, Dad.
Mm.
Yeah,
Oh, brother.
yeah. Again,
Not in front of my friends.
Ah, there we go.
that's what the preparing for is. Yes, that's what's in the background. Yes, all the ways it should be. Right.
You have to behave in front of her friends, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I do. Doesn't mean I have to be the same when they're not there.
Right.
I just
Why
point
do
it
you
out
have
so
to be
she can
different
see it.
too? Right?
Right.
Why do you have to be different too? Right? Because of her? Maybe her friend will be like, oh, your dad's so cool, he's so funny. And then she might realize like, oh, I didn't see that, you know?
Yep.
I know what you
Just
mean,
being
but
there. Yep.
yeah,
Just being there. Being there for when they're ready, when they want it, when they need it. And even when they
Yeah.
don't.
yeah.
It doesn't bother me.
No, that's good.
And I just know it's at the surface. It's a growing, right? It's the I'm used to it this way. Let's try something else.
Mm-hmm.
Because there can be anger, and I don't want that anger to stick around.
Right.
For her and for me, but for both of us. It's growing, it's fostering, it's picking up momentum. And that's what happens with a big giving heart that just really loves. It begins to harden. I just don't want it to. I'm gonna do my best to not let it harden too much.
Mm.
as they discover who they are.
Yeah.
But yes, when she gets up at 7 o'clock to hit around the volleyball, I'll take the opportunity to play with her.
Mm. Yeah, she's showing
Yeah.
you her passion.
Good timing too.
Yep. She's preparing to be on the team, right? So there's something she wants to explore. She's curious about it. Those are the easiest moments to pick up momentum.
Yeah, because it's right there and obvious. Sometimes it has to be.
Just to give you a glimpse of what it could be, right? What it is. Progress. Progress. It's all progress. Progress is all in the momentum and the resistance of the tension. And in that, change is inevitable. Fascinating. There's no direction to change, yet we all want it. Morning. Change is just implied from one position to the next. Just implies a different, not a positive or negative, just different. It's the opposite, the other one.
Expansion happens in all directions. No discrimination.
It has to start in the direction of expansion.
Yeah, as if expansion is actually a direction.
No, it's away from contraction, limitation.
Yeah.
They're
Wow.
degrees of each other, yes.
Yeah.
My point is, speaking, of change. Change just assumes the present,
Yeah, like where does end end? Where does beginning begin? Or do they?
They always do when we make them up to be there too. Meaning we have a tendency to think about it in those terms, like the underlying structure of it.
Linearly.
And for most people, most often, it's negatively two is the starting position. I mean, or forcing and pressure in a situation where they're in force and pressure. It's like, oh, we just got to give more of it. We're got to be better at taking it, right?
Yeah, which just compounds it.
Mhm. The point is, we tend to only see it one way.
Either or.
Even as is. Meaning it can only be this way. Which is the either, the or. Just the fixed, really.
Even extremes in balance are harmonious.
Did you guys watch the video that Joe put, like about Kevin Trudeau?
I did.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Like our teachability index. You know, willing to learn and willing to change. And I can say, like, my willingness to learn is a 10, but my willing to change might be a 7. But one cannot work without the other. Like total balance.
Yeah, and for me, the other side of that is drawing a conclusion or formulating a hard belief. Just closes that door.
Yeah.
It's an insult to curiosity.
Yeah, for sure. That's why I stay open. Like, it's not so much who says what, but is the message resonate with me?
You know, even if it doesn't.
Or if it doesn't, then I won't listen.
Hmm.
Maybe I'm not ready to listen to that message.
Is that a
I
10?
feel I'm pretty
or
open.
Is that a 10 or a 7?
Yeah.
And then that's the key, is to what habit has me say, like, oh, I'm done with that. And it's like, that's the opportunity for changing. Because a change is not going to happen with what we already have heard or familiar with. Now, resonating is different. People understand the meaning of that differently depending on the levels at which they can work with it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And you know, that comes in the listening. So we're listening for the behaviors that might be consistent that someone else couldn't hear or doesn't see. And what shows up, it's like it's in one form of language, right? So it's only at one time do we hear it. I'm going to add another thing. So like in that pointing out what of that learnability, one of the things you said earlier, Pascal, was when you were referring to your chakras. And you said, oh, well, I'm going to go and discover, I'm going to go find which one's shut down, which one's closed. No, nothing in that except for I sat with, well, wouldn't the intention just do that for you? Without needing to know which one it is, it's like, oh, I wouldn't just have a choosing or intending them to all be open. Would that be this? Would that be in the direction?
Yeah,
Would
but I
that
can't have
be-
any attachment to it. You know, because if I think like, oh, well, I cannot trade what I want until like my chakras are all open, then I'm stuck. Right? Just to recognize that and be like, oh, what else is possible for me if
Okay.
I do open those chakras?
Well, the underlying assumption is that you got to go do something to open them.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, oh, I'm going to go do something later to open them. Oh, what is that? Like, what is that?
Like, because it's like a belief that like they cannot be opened by themselves.
Yeah.
That I have to use something to open them.
That's right. Or yeah, you got to go do some, meaning rather than just you intending them to be open, pulls it in that direction.
Yeah.
That's a sneaky way of giving power away.
Yeah. Yeah, it's way downstream, like the action, instead in the desire and intention.
Mm-hmm. Great reference.
Yeah, thank you for shining light on it.
Thanks for being curious.
Yeah. It's like my default setting, right?
Right. Could be. Usually those are when we're not aware we're even saying it, right? Because it's just coming out, nothing in it.
Yeah, yeah. And usually people will be, yeah, but how do you open them, right? And then it creates the momentum of that action, right? So now we're building on action instead of a desire and intention. So we're staying stuck at that level, right? And then like maybe someone will be looking into it, and then I'll be looking in like different ways or whatever. But now we're just at the level of action, at the physical body. What if it happens like a lot before? Like at a really, like a much higher level.
Mm-hmm. And what you're explaining is a problem-solving loop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you know, like costly, right? It takes a lot of time and energy, and it's like takes away from something else, and it's Or we can just say, no, I choose it to be open.
Yeah.
And it's like moving through every situation. All right, how is it now? Am I open to it now?
Yeah, and moving in a parallel reality that they're already open
Mm-hmm.
and just jump right in.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a parallel reality that they're open.
Yeah, you bet. And I'll say it another way without the parallel. There's a possibility where it has been there before.
Yeah.
And where it will be in the future, right? It's just. And that's where the something out of nothing matters, because it drives our attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you get that in that moment, right? It's like it was for something. We're just not, I don't think we're very conditioned. We're not very good at what we do with what we get.
Yeah, what's the driving force that makes me look at that this morning?
It may have had something to do with relationships.
Yeah. Could be.
And why do I say that?
Maybe because you see it in yourself.
Out of all the intentions for the day, of all the things that you could give, you gave that.
Yeah.
So again, another example of something from everything and nothing. Well, maybe they're not connected. Curiosity would say, oh, I wonder how they are connected. How could they be connected? Two things. Something, two somethings out of nothing and everything. I chose to speak about those two things.
Yeah.
And many more, right? And multiple other things. I think our default, our tendency, or at least mine had been, that they're all separate.
Mm-hmm.
another way, they're divided. They're divided. Different. It's like, oh, so if I know that that's a conditioning, right? That's a starting position, Craig, right? Where I start is like, oh, if my tendency is to look at how everything is divided,
Yeah.
that's not how I look at it, but that's like, oh, this moment was different than this moment. That's different than this moment. What is that saying? One, I'm not very curious. If I'm always looking at how they're divided.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and look at your life, how divided it is too, right?
We do
How
categorize everything, right?
fragmented it is.
Fragment them up, separate them without a doubt. They're just all different flavors. In all reality, they're just different structures that we tend to view as separate. I don't think I'm alone in doing that because it's structurally, it's so deep that structurally it came from. Just like how you spoke of that, Pascal, how you spoke about the automatics is to go out there and find some action, right, that's going to change the behavior, some process.
Right.
Over and over and over and over again, right? You're just fixated on finding more information about that.
Yeah. Yeah, because we don't see it, right? We don't see it. Like I put my desire and intention, I don't see how it's gonna manifest. But like if I use a tool, say I use a tuning fork to open my chakra, then I see, right? I don't like I hear, I see that I'm using something, right? Like so it's way more familiar to a human mind.
I mean, yeah, and if you just think about how absurd that is.
I know.
You see yourself, you caught yourself in it. You're like, oh, that doesn't make any sense because just because I use it doesn't mean it works.
Yeah.
The placebo is a beautiful example of that. We don't even know it, and it works 30% of the time.
If not more.
Yeah, if not more.
Right? And really like
well
it's not like the action, it's the intention and the desire behind it that will move the needle.
Yeah.
In other words, the belief.
Yeah.
So the belief is this, whatever, this process that I went and did all the research on and found, and I'm so excited about will work.
Which is my permission slip.
Yeah, it will work, right? Until it doesn't.
Yeah.
was thinking about structure, and it's like the structure of being thirsty. Never thought about that.
Structure of being thirsty.
Mhm. Probably not, because it's just something you do.
Yeah, it's an automatic.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's an inner motivation that's there. It's a curiosity, but you have a very special flavor of it.
And very well conditioned, isn't it? When was the last time you thought about going to get water? Or whatever you hydrate with?
Yeah, I wasn't
So, but
thinking
what's-
like, oh, I desire, and then I can, you know, like it's, I take the action right away, right?
like the urge, right? There's this urge, which is part of it, right? The urge, and then it's like fulfill it. And you weren't thirsty until that moment. But it was always a degree of thirsty, like getting to a point of less fluid that triggered that feeling, right? That sensation. So if the conditions or the structure of thirsty needs two conditions, what are they?
You said if thirsty meet two conditions, what are they? Is that what you said?
Yeah, the structure. Yeah, the structure. If this thirsty is within a structure of two conditions, what are they? Fully hydrated and dehydrated. It can't exist outside of that, can it?
No, I don't think so.
Like the meaning of thirsty wouldn't hold up any other way. Now it's fascinating that we talk about thirsty so often, right? As a need, as a lack, right? Because it's a lack of water. And what word do we use when we're thinking about? I was thinking about it. It was like the only word is we're hydrated. We don't use hydrated very often unless we're selling something. Selling a Gatorade.
Mm. Which probably dehydrates you.
Not according to the ad.
No, no.
But do you see how it's selling us something that we want?
Yeah, for majority of people, yeah.
Meaning we want to be hydrated.
Yeah.
It's selling hydrated, it's selling hydration, it's selling hydrate, but we don't use the word hydration in our language.
Right.
Well, it's like when you go to get your glass of water, do you say, oh, I choose to be hydrated?
Mm-hmm.
I don't say that. Oh, I'm thirsty. I say I'm thirsty.
Right.
It's the present moment. I'm thirsty, lack of water, right? So now I'm going to take the action to get water. And then we're not even grateful when we're hydrated because it's out of mind now. Because we resolved, right? That tension, thirsty, we resolved the tension. We went to a state of higher hydration. Fascinating. Fascinating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you dive deeper in these concept and structure,
And so then it's like the structure. It's like, oh, so when did we learn about the structure of thirsty? Did we have to have language around it? Does Kai have language around thirsty?
yeah, he cries.
But he doesn't have the language around it. No, he doesn't.
No.
He has the feeling of it.
Well,
He has the emotion, and we say, oh, in our English language, that is thirsty. So like, or he's hungry, right? Hungry works the same way.
Right.
They're two different feelings, though, right? They're two different expressions. So it's like that's how feelings come before the words.
Yeah, he already knows the difference.
Yep. And then he's going to learn that separation, that difference between it when he starts to learn the language. And you can teach him several different languages, right, to learn them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you could have a trilingual kid.
Yeah, well, that's what we're doing right now.
Good.
Right?
Yeah.
I speak French to him, and then the grandparents, they barely speak English, so they spoke to him in Korean the whole time.
Yeah.
English, he'll just learn it, right? But
yeah, think about what that's like when you're learning from square one. You're learning three different languaging, three different interpretation mechanisms when you're that young. Like, how powerful does that make you? Oh man.
Yeah. I'll definitely give you an edge.
Yeah. But the thing is, for him now, it's mostly conceptual. It's mostly nonverbal. And so like you're giving him a lot of options with which to interpret and cognitize those concepts that he already knows.
Yeah.
I mean, that's expansive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And saying another way, it's like always building. It'll always be building.
Yeah.
And that's the progression of it. And so if we think about that, it's like I'm going to use my beliefs, my interpretations, my scene of this is like as therapist, right? Therapists work in the language domain. Right. And so most of it is working on the language aspect of it, which let's just say took over at age 7. What did it take over from?
Yeah.
Mhm.
The emotions, the feeling aspect of it. So really what first was the feelings, the emotions were there. They're already happening as we perceiving the world. And now what we've done is just attached words to them. That's why just talking about the words doesn't get very deep.
Yeah, because the
It
words
isn't.
themselves constrict.
That's right.
Because they categorize and they make distinctions.
Because you'll drop a word off of a meaning, yet you'll drop a word off of the feeling, but the feeling is still flowing under that condition.
Right.
Under that deep perception. You can't change, try and change the feeling of thirsty, the sensation of thirsty. Change it. You can change all the words you want, but change your version of thirsty, and I can't say that would be the same as anyone else's. I can't say my version of thirsty is the same for you, Craig.
No.
We sure like to assume it, though.
Right.
Because when you say thirsty, then I can say, oh, that's what it feels like for me, so it must be the same for you.
Yeah. But there's no way of getting evidence that that's true. Because it's subjective completely. And all these common beliefs that we take on are this agreement that all of our subjective interpretations are alike, and they can't be, because we all have our own reference, right? Yeah. Well, they could be,
yeah,
but they're probably not.
They're all, yes, I'm not gonna.
They're subjective, right? There's no reference between your experience and mine.
That's right. What is necessary for it to work is the curiosity in someone to say, oh, I wonder what that would be like for my experience.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And that's that equally unique, right? That's equally different. That's where that equal comes in. Is it just as important as mine is, so is yours. Because again, the structure is, we always think our problems are more important than anyone else's.
And they are.
Right?
Yeah.
Of course they are. You want to argue about that?
Well, it's one I won't win.
Let's talk
Fascinating
about
how
my
you went.
problem.
Fascinating how you went, how you wanted to just automatically argue about it,
Yeah.
which is the tendency, right? I'm not saying that you're making fun of it, but it is the tendency, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even though we know it doesn't work.
You ever had like a friend that like, you know, you tell a story, but he always has a better one?
Oh yeah, yeah. And you see, like, that's a structure. Yeah, that's a structure. That's, as soon as it's there, there's an automatic conditioning of, oh, I've got to, you know, it appears as if, let me top that.
Yeah.
Fascinating. And I wonder, it's like, oh, I wonder what a person like that is thinking about. When I examined mine, it was like to prove that I can do that too. I handled it better than you did because it was always a competition. Life is a competition, don't you know? Some win and most
That's
lose.
what we're taught. Yeah, that's what we're taught.
And
sure.
you better be a winner.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sad thing is that nobody wins at that game.
Oh, I am. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you do for a while, Craig. You do for a while. Or
Well, yeah.
You can for a while.
Yeah, yeah,
Or think you can for a while.
yeah. Until you can't.
And then somebody else wins, and then
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's very difficult to stay at the top.
What's interesting is there always will be someone there.
Yeah.
That's the illusion, right?
Yeah.
And the truth is somebody will always be on top. The truth is it just will never be one person.
Yeah, winning destroy a relationship.
Can, yeah.
Consistently.
Yeah, if you always with someone that like is winning the argument, you think you're gonna be with that person very long?
Yeah, winning as an individual always destroys something.
Unless someone finds love in losing.
Yeah.
Which there are.
Yeah. But you know, we have to find that out for ourselves, don't we?
Or and still pay people to tell us about it.
Yeah.
It's still a pig, even if it's got lipstick on it.
Yeah, yeah.
Fascinating structures. Structures are fascinating.
Yeah.
And you'll always find the points of structure in the meaning, It's always at something away from something else. the opposites, right? That's just
Yeah.
that's our language.
Yeah.
That's this 3D, this polarity of 3D.
Yeah, this one coaching training that I was in, that was kind of a key concept about it, is your clients are either going to be trying to get away from something, or they're trying to move towards something.
Mhm.
And the proportions are about 80-20. About 80% of people are trying to move away.
Yep.
And about 20 are trying to move toward.
Yep.
And neither one is particularly helpful.
Right.
But that wasn't
Right.
the part that they taught in the course. But that's just what I found too, is it's like, so that's where Chris's stuff is interesting, is because you find an end result that you want to move towards, and then you look at your current reality. That's what you want to move away from, and you set up the tension and you use that.
That's right.
So
Structure.
so
See,
that's
it's all
what
structure.
was, yeah, and that's what was really innovative about Magnetic Mind for me, is that it kind of filled in the gap that was left by those other coaching trainings.
It is a shortcut.
Yep.
And on the flip side of it, it's like if we look at the polarity, the charges of that of running away from is a negative, right? To get away from it. And so how it correlates is most people see 80% negativity in their life, yeah, and 20% positivity. That's how most people live, and it correlates exactly to that. And so depending on where you're at, we're working to get more balance between them. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that matters. And so your starting position matters, to be like aware, oh, this is my tendency. This is my automatic. This is my default.
Yeah, it's like you're 20% comfortable with your life and 80% uncomfortable.
A great analogy. Yes.
Yeah. Well, and it's not actually your default, but it's become that.
Yeah. And so then, as Craig, as you speak that, what that brings into is the dimension of time.
Yeah.
Because if we're looking at it from right now, then it was like, oh, that's true. And then the way I heard you say is that if we look at conception, that's not true.
Yeah.
That's what I heard the difference be.
Yeah.
Whether or not that's what you meant. Because I think at conception, like as we came here, if you think of like babies are examples of that, it's 100% curiosity.
Yeah.
I think that's what you mean, as that's our default.
Yeah. See, there's that same assumption that's prevalent around what's human nature as well. Like there's this assumption that that there's been this progression over the years from human beings being more like primates and gradually, becoming becoming intelligent over time, and kind of like that's where we started from, and what so much of our groupthink is kind of around that assumption. And quite frankly, I don't know that that's true anymore. I'm coming to wonder if there was glory days of human beings where humans could do a lot of what could be considered supernatural now, but that was more of our original state, was that kind of supernatural state. And something happened where that got obscured. And that's kind of dovetails with the whole 3Gs idea. That these babies are born complete. They're born with all of that stuff intact and intrinsic and ready to go, but the dark energy of the environment obscures all of that very quickly.
The conditioning,
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I was thinking the other day? I was like, as we're shedding the ego mind identity, which is our intellect, it's our thinking mind, another one emerged. And that's the AI. AI is the new ego mind identity.
Yeah.
Because you can't ask like AI, like, what is my heart desire?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I see it that way too, Pascal.
You can, Pascal, that's the thing. You can ask it and it will give you an answer. Now, I don't see how that's any different than if I were to ask Craig the same question. I see how ridiculous that is, right? But yet we're in such a position, like we're granting, our default has been to grant this tool so much autonomy, so much power, that now we're going to start to believe we're going to take back what that tool believes as if it's ours.
Yeah.
And how ludicrous is that, first of all?
Yeah.
So
like you're delegating your creativity to an inanimate object.
Right. I mean, we don't do that to another. We don't do that with another person. Why the hell would we do it to a tool?
Yeah.
Now, but I do want to back up. If I don't want to lose this, I want to back up, Craig, to your point.
Okay.
And it's like there is that story, that perception, right? That's and it's in the evolution aspect of it, right? That we're
right.
Primates dragging other people around by our hair, right? Grunting,
right.
And
with a survival instinct.
With a survival, which probably, right? Probably a lot of that, potentially. What I want to just draw attention to on that is the innate versus nurture. As that's like what we can look at to see which one dominated. Right, because that is our tendency, right? And we can see that in children. So as in children, that's the innateness coming through. So it's like, yes, that had to be established much longer than what is nurtured.
Yes.
So I can, from that perspective, I have to agree with you. Because that, like, where else would that have come from?
Yeah. Like, how are children
And-
born knowing stuff?
And
Like, why could Mozart when he was like 4 years old write friggin' concertos? How in the heck does that happen?
Mhm,
He didn't learn that from anybody. There's no way.
right,
There wasn't time for him to learn that from anybody.
from the way that we understand it, yes.
And there was nobody around that could have taught him that either.
Hmm.
Which is so amazing.
And if it's true for one, then it's true for all.
Yeah.
That's the separation in it as well. So I think we asked the question is like, oh, how could we have gotten so far off of that? It would be exactly the same way as how it's trying to get back to it.
Yeah. Yeah. But we're not sure what we're trying to get back to.
Nor were we sure what we were getting away from.
Right. Yeah.
The pendulum, see, it's just a pendulum swinging.
Yeah, the story kind of got lost in civilization or in being civilized.
It definitely evolved, right?
Yeah.
And evolved from it had to be like from curiosity, love, and joy, which is what like innate in children, right? In children, you see it, to structure of domination and greed.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and that's the problem with the word evolution just means change. I mean, it's that simple, but it's come to have this connotation of measurable progress of some kind. And it doesn't
I think
necessarily mean that.
adaptability could be another word for it in there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because in that is like that's the purpose for changing, is to adapt.
So in a way, the ability to adapt is both a blessing and a curse.
Mhm.
I know that's been true in my own life experience. Because there's been times where I've woken up right in the middle of a heck of a lot of BS that I've adapted myself to.
Which is
Like I
where I think
mentioned.
we've got it backwards. I think if we can learn so much more from the children rather than us trying to teach the children.
Right. And forcing them to adapt. I mean, because that's basically how it works. It's like we got this really sick society, so I'm gonna teach you how to survive in it. I'm gonna teach you how to adapt to it in a way that, you know, that you'll be able to feel a little bit of happy.
Are we? Like, I would agree with that if it worked.
Right, but it doesn't work, but we keep doing it. That's the weird thing about it.
That's insanity.
Yeah. Well, the hardest lesson to learn is futility. Because you can't learn it until you've exhausted everything. really good example of this is growing up with PTSD. I finally got to a place where I had become a real master at self-regulation, like regulating my own post-traumatic stress triggers and regulating my response to those triggers and those stresses and even extreme distress, until one day my mastery didn't work anymore. I just came to an end of the ability, like I exhausted the ability to self-regulate. And holy crap, did my world fall apart.
Could you say you ran out of ways to avoid it?
Yeah.
Which, remember, that 80% of people are avoiding it and 20% are going for what they want.
Right. Yeah. That's a really, yeah. That's a good way of saying it. Yeah.
And
Sure,
that is what you were taught, right? That's how you were taught to deal with it.
Well, that's how I was taught, but that's how my genius lived inside that.
Mhm.
But it took a hell of a lot of energy. It took a hell of a lot of energy to exhaust my genius. Let's put it that way. But I'm pretty sure it was my genius that took me to the end of that took me to exhaustion. I think that was the intention of my genius was to take me to the end of it.
So that you could see the structure.
Yeah. And it took it took 6 decades to get there. So,
right. Which is what I think a lot of people are in. They're just not, they haven't come to their timing yet.
Yeah.
So it's specifically different for everyone, but fundamentally it's all heading to the same spot.
Yeah.
Just now timing's involved.
Yeah. And it's interesting how so many of us are coming to the same realizations at a specific time.
Mm-hmm.
Like even all these things that we're exploring every morning. It's like, the timing of this is very significant. That we've all come to these places individually, and now we're getting together and sharing it all.
Which then just supports the structure that's there, which means that it becomes aware of the structure that is there, the fundamentals that are there.
Yeah. And we can resolve a lot of these imbalances together as we interact with each other.
Mm-hmm. Because as different as they are so much the same.
Well, and yeah, and like I said, I had been self-regulating my whole life and devising more and more more and more methods of doing that until I realized that that's what I had been doing for years. Yeah. And I think the big wake up call is the realization that it ran out of steam, that it was a futile exercise, but a very educational one. You know, realizing that you're adapting and you have been adapting. You know, and those adaptive behaviors that aren't useful anymore. But they were, at one time, they were very useful, very valuable. I don't have to adapt anymore just because I can. There's two things in there. It's not necessary to adapt. And the other one is not necessary for me to adapt. Why should it be me that does the adapting? Just because I'm good at it?
Yeah, because you feel that you have the choice now. You have the choice.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
before, like, it was an automatic, and then you're like, well, I don't have choice. I have to regulate this thing.
Right.
I don't have any other option.
Yeah, it's kind of like a role that I took on that became a piece of my identity. You know, this is Craig the adapter.
Yeah. And
so
he's anytime,
and he's good at it. So anytime there's crap going on, put Craig into the situation, and all of a sudden, you know what I mean, things appear to equalize or balance or whatever. But the truth was that it didn't balance anything.
It was an illusion.
Yeah, it was an illusion. Because the truth was I bore the brunt of it because I was good at it. And I know that pattern was established before I was even conceived. So it's like, whoa. You know, this child is going to be the answer to a problem we think we have.
Well, they'll be able to show us. But it's up to us. We still have the choice.
Yeah.
We can deny it. Oh, that can't be that. That's too easy. I got to work hard for it. That's my pattern.
Yeah. You know, we gotta watch, especially as parents, that we don't project roles and identities
Mm-hmm.
on our children.
Said another way, expectations.
Yeah, yeah,
That's difficult because what that is pressure, right? So then all of a sudden we learn that our pressure has to be in life.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That in order to live at all, there needs to be pressure.
Mhm.
Yeah, not true.
And competition.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The pressure then is self-generated pressure.
Well, yeah, yeah. I know. I used to use fear to motivate myself.
Mhm.
Use it as a motivation. You know,
Which is
that's such
getting
an
away from.
unnatural. Yeah,
It's
such
running
an
away
unnatural
from it.
way
It's
to live.
avoiding.
Eh?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. It is. It is
It's-
avoiding, but it's like, yeah. It's about using a fabricated force to get you to do something that you don't want to do.
Hey, that means you fit in a society.
Well, yeah, you fit in the society, but the thing is, it kills you to do that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. It's just another form of death.
But that way you
That's
belong.
okay. Yeah, you make someone else rich that way, so it's okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what it's all about, right?
Right. So
Making someone else's life better.
yeah, you try to find the good in it or the value in it while you're dying in the middle of it.
Just
And
as long as you're
the
productive.
value is always projected outside of yourself. You're only valuable if someone can use you that way. That's this whole thing about inner voice and inner authority that keeps popping up for me these days, about how deeply important that is to reestablish your inner authority.
Or just keep getting sicker. That's the alternative to that. It doesn't seem like much of a choice, but we seem to continue to play the old one.
Yeah, yeah. Well, a lot
Unaware that
of
we keep
this,
choosing that old one.
yeah, a lot of this stuff about choice has to do with awareness,
Mm.
because so many of these choices
Oh.
are made in the dark, you know, without us
Right.
even knowing we're making them.
Yeah.
And
The
you
default.
know, yeah, exactly.
The unaware, the just defaults, the conditioned, that's the way it is from the expectations that were put on us.
Yeah,
Structure.
yeah.
Structure.
Well, and then that assumption that what we interpret from that is the way things actually are.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. And until we actually take a step back and question that,
Yeah.
question that conclusion we came to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which means
Yeah.
step out of that pressure to see, oh, step out of that pressure. Right? That's scary to step out of that pressure because we put that pressure on us to get out of it.
Yeah. Well, and there's pressure to agree, you know.
Yep. That pressure to be right,
Yeah.
pressure to know, pressure to care.
Yeah. I don't know and I don't care.
Comes back to that, isn't it?
Creates
Yeah.
a blank canvas. It creates a blank canvas, and that's all I need to know, and that's all I need to care about.
And when you talk about awareness, like what's the best way to build awareness?
It's a good question. For me, I experienced some pretty interesting wake up calls. And to kind of summarize that, it's like
Would that be discovering a part of yourself that you were not aware?
no, before a few steps before that, actually. It was usually showed up like a realization that what I was doing, or no, let's get more specific than that, that life wasn't working for me.
So a self-realization.
So it's like, yeah, it's like the life that I was creating for myself, but I wouldn't have used that language at the time because I didn't know that this language at the time. But the life I was creating for myself didn't fit. It didn't fit me. It was off.
So you realized that you were not that.
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
that didn't work.
Yeah. Inner, yeah. It's this feeling of inner conflict. Or the structure that I had set up had I just got this, so I'll use it. Had some termites in the corners. So it just wouldn't, the parts of it wouldn't hold up anymore. Yeah.
Would you say your mind interfere with it?
Yeah, because the mind was a huge part of the construct.
Right.
So part of it was this realization that I couldn't depend on my mind. It's like my mind gave out.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah, my mind proved to be unreliable.
And what's left?
What's left is my being, which is a whole different piece.
Which has no concept, ideology, no duality.
Yeah, it doesn't have any of that.
Just is.
It just is. Yeah.
Is it kind of funny that we come back to the same thing? Everybody.
Yeah, that just is part doesn't require the same kind of structure.
It's when you finally give up, you would say, then you were able to allow and surrender to what is.
Yeah. That's interesting that you should use that language, Pascal. You said give up. I remember writing this in my journals like 25, 30, 35 years ago. This underlying sense that, and this is the language I used at the time, that God was trying to get me to give up. To just give up.
And we're taught not to give up.
Yeah, we're taught not to give up. We're taught to we're forced to adapt. We're enticed to stay in this game. To stay in this game that we're not designed for, as it turns out. We're not designed to play this game that we're forced to play. So for me, the exit strategy from the game was exhaustion.
Because like what came to my mind, I don't know if you guys probably play that, like, there's a geometrical like form that only fits in certain holes, right?
Yeah, what's that called? Perfection or something?
I don't know.
You got a bunch of pieces and you got 60-minute timer or whatever, and you're trying to fit all the pieces into the places they go before the thing pops and goes crazy.
And then you see a child or a kid And then like they're trying and trying to fit that piece back in because they really think it's gonna fit there
Yeah.
until they're like they give up, right?
Yeah.
And then they
Yeah.
go for a different hole, and it's like, oh, this one works perfectly.
Yeah. The interesting thing is, if I would consider my life as a piece with a certain shape, and for me, I could never find the hole that fit that shape. So I finally gave up. And now I realize that the hole that would have fit that shape didn't exist in that structure. It didn't exist there at all.
Yeah.
But it was important that I tried to fit that piece into wherever I could fit it, so that now I know that it doesn't fit.
Yeah,
You
you
I
try
can move
this
forward
flavor,
from
right?
knowing. Yeah, I can move forward from knowing that yeah, my piece doesn't fit into that structure. Yeah. Yeah. You know, and that was a very personal subjective experience for me. And I would dare say that that's probably true for everyone on the planet, but at the same time I would say that they have to find that out for themselves.
Yeah.
You know. And so from where I'm sitting right now that I know that from my own experience, it's kind of what I really want to do is tell people that, but that's not the right way to go about it.
Yeah.
It's not the correct way to go about it.
Yeah, it's like giving the answer to a test to someone that never studied
Yeah.
like whatever
Yeah.
subject matter.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is, people are only going to get it when they're ready to get it. I mean, that was true for me, but I'm sure it's true for everybody else too.
Oh yeah.
You
We
know?
all at a different spot, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Pretty sure like 10 years ago, I wasn't ready to listen what you guys have to say.
Oh yeah. Oh, I wasn't either.
Right? We're at different spots.
I mean, even a year ago,
Mhm.
wasn't really ready for this kind of a conversation. So it's interesting. Yeah. 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 So I've been doing a lot of contemplating around messaging and what people are ready to hear or not.
Yeah.
And that's why timing has a lot to do with it, and divine intention has a lot to do with it, is because only a broad perspective like that can know what will be effective and influential and impactful at a certain time and place and with certain people. So what I'm starting to get is like more preaching to the choir. You know, instead of trying to bring people on board.
Mm.
Because the choir is already sitting there. You know, the choir is already sitting there. They may not be ready to hear or whatever, but at least they're sitting there. So they're like
Yeah.
kind of a captive audience that made a choice to be there. You know, and that's the same is true for the people in the pews. Although their level of openness and commitment may not be, you know, may not be very high. But yeah. So what I'm starting to do is I'm starting to interact with groups of people that are studying the same things as me.
Mm.
And I'm starting to make comments there and interact with people and that kind of stuff, and see what resonates with people that are kind of already in the spaces that I cohabit.
Right.
You know, it's kind of like what Joe did with his Lovolution and his unofficial David Icke page. You know, it's very interesting the kind of response he's been getting over the last few weeks. And even before he was doing binaural beats for people, even before that, he was doing a lot of interaction with the groups that he's part of. And yeah, it's just kind of taken off for him. So I appreciate his example.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, in the last few months, I've run across a lot of old friends that I've had, and over the years, and you know, these are people that have had amazing successes, but and I was wondering how I can interface with them and if there's anything there anymore.
Yeah.
And what I've realized is that, yeah, these people are experts in the old structure.
Mm.
You know, but I was an expert in the old structure. And I just realized that that's not going anywhere. You know, all I did back there was just maintain things that were dying and decaying, and trying to pump life into what's dead already. And yeah, and I can't go back there. Like, it's not an option. It's not an option to try to fix that structure. You know, just like I realized it wasn't an option to keep feeding it.
That's not what your heart wants.
Oh, that's not what my heart wants. My heart wants to feed something, but not something that's dying. I want to feed something that's living.
Yeah. Expanding.
Expanding. Yeah. Exactly. And I also realized too that I don't, no, I'm not going to word it that way. Pardon me. For me, there's not a lot of excess energy to work with right now. And so I'm careful as to where I invest my energy.
Yeah, which is a good thing.
Yep. Yep. Well, I get together with Maureen once in a while and have a good squeeze. You know, and stuff like that is like, yeah, you know, that's a really good investment. You know, those kinds of things, right? You know, instead of trying to get my shape to fit into holes that don't fit.
Right. Yeah, you know what's fit and what doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah. What's interesting is that in this new structure, I'm actually creating a structure that fits my shape. Instead of trying to fit my shape into a structure that exists already. So the structure is being built around me, not before me. Or wow, that's interesting too. And it's also, the structure is very liquid, and the structure is adaptable instead of me having to adapt to it. Like the structure is adapting.
Almost like Bruce Lee.
Yeah. Bruce Lee said something along the lines of that, didn't he? Do you remember what he said, Pascal?
I can't remember about something about water though.
Yeah.
But one thing that he says like, I'm more afraid of someone that master one punch, you know, that been practicing like 1,000, maybe 1,000,000 times the one punch.
Yep.
Than all different punches.
Yeah.
I don't know the quote exactly, but that's what it means, right? Like, so master one skill.
Yeah.
Like master it, you know?
Yeah. I wonder if he's back.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I was wondering the other day if Steve Jobs has come back yet.
Hmm. I mean, there's a lot of genius out there.
Yep.
I mean, we're all genius, but
Yeah. Yeah, I saw the movie Oppenheimer on Sunday. Oppenheimer.
Is that at the theater?
Yeah. Yeah. He was the father of the atomic bomb.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Very interesting. No, this is an interesting thing because it was about quantum quantum mechanics and and about they had a character playing Einstein in it and Niels Bohr and all these guys who were into that whole quantum movement in physics and yeah, and believe it or not, I was brought to tears 3 times in this movie.
Oh, wow.
That was about creating a bomb. So it's it was quite profound for me. So when I got back from the movie, I looked up movie quotes and I wrote down a bunch of them because there were some things that were said in the dialogue that just hit me like a brick. It was amazing.
Maybe you were remembering something.
Yeah, definitely remembering things. Yeah. Yeah, even Dolores Cannon suggested that. She suggested that atomic bomb being dropped on innocent people really changed the trajectory of Earth and human beings. It kind of sent out a shockwave into the whole cosmos. Because we're coming into a time, or we have been over the last 100 years or 120 years or so, since science has gone in that quantum direction. And all that has to happen in order for this new awakening to emerge, because the new awakening is about energy, and it's about quantum mechanics, and it's about all these unseen things that
metaphysics.
that our bodies can sense. Our bodies can sense all of that stuff around us, and that's part of the awakening, is a remembering of these multidimensional capabilities that we've always had, and learning how to live in them again. Human beings learning how to live multidimensionally again, because for many thousands of years we haven't been.
Right.
That's part of what I was saying about this whole thing about there being a glory days, like human beings in their glory days before something happened that kind of took humanity out of that. Some kind of a dark energy event that kind of kicked a whole lot of things in, or kicked a lot of things out of balance, and it's just gotten more and more imbalanced as the years have gone by. A lot of people have died. There's atrocities that human beings have done to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it goes by cycle, right?
Yep.
It's
Well,
a
and
cycle.
even the Hebrew and Christian Bibles are a chronicle of what life is like when you're dominated by that kind of dark energy. Like, because right in the beginning of Genesis, it talks about Adam and Eve, And it talks about those beginnings of that dark energy taking over. And everything in that publication is about dark energy stuff. Except here and there's examples of what life is like outside of it.
Yeah.
You know, there's prophecies about, you know, they use terminology like a new Jerusalem that's coming, and you know, then Jesus showed up and did a lot of multi-dimensional things in a human body, from a human body. You know, and there was there's a lot of prophecies about things like human beings returning to heart-centeredness. You know, and there's stories of people that didn't die, they were just transfused into a different reality.
Are we all?
Well, I know I am because I've experienced it.
Right.
But,
yeah, that's the
you
thing.
know.
Like, that's why, like, I practice like astral traveling and stuff, right?
Yeah.
I haven't been successful yet, but
yeah,
you know, once I tangibly experience that, oh wow, I see my body sleeping. I'm like, well, I'm not my body, you know. Like I keep saying
right.
that, but
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
now I tangibly experience it now. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
like
Yeah,
I
and
heard it from so many people, right? But
yeah,
you know, I
yeah,
want to. It's a desire that I want to experience it.
yeah. And you know that to be true for you now.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
and I can share my experience. Right? Like
yeah.
you share your experience with your NDE, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And once you have someone like close by, you're like, oh, okay. Because you hear it like, you know, from a podcast or whatever, but I don't feel I have any relationship, you know, with that person. It's not a close person to me. So I'm like, okay, that's her story, or that's his story, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I didn't know that was a near-death experience until like 55 years later.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know, and I'm sure now that there's a lot more people have had, especially childhood ones, near-death experiences than we can imagine. Because I keep running into people that are, you know, that are processing things like that, and I go, yeah, you know, I can sense that as an experiencer. I can sense that in other people, that they've had some kind of a brush with death in their life. You know, and all it really is an awareness. It's an awareness of the truth of what you are, and the truth of the other side, and the truth of your immortality.
Yeah.
Because I know that when I die for good in this lifetime, it's going to be because I make the choice to do so. Like that's completely in my power. The choice to move on. And so I recognize it with other people. And that's why I was saying, I wonder if Steve Jobs has come back yet. Because that's in his choice too. I know that he chose to leave when he did. I mean, and he might not have known that he chose to leave when he did, but I know because I've been there and chose that. If that makes any
Right.
sense.
Yeah.
So I know it's like that. You know, and I have a feeling that my life is going to be very long. Like this life that I'm living right now is going to be very long.
Yeah.
Because that's part of it. Part of what I've been given to do has to do with humanity making this transition. And you know, and that role is dependent on a lot of people making those kind of choices.
Mm.
You know, and teaching people how to make those kind of choices, modeling to people how to make those kind of choices. You know, that we even have the capability of making those kind of choices. Yeah, what people don't realize is that if they died, they actually chose to.
Right. Well, they see all the possibility, right? Like they see, okay,
Yep.
my body is destroyed, my physical body is destroyed. Yeah, like everybody's gonna be sad that I'm leaving, but there's something like it's in my my best interest to go the other side, you would say, for my
Yep.
evolution.
Yeah.
Right? Because like my life plan is done.
Yep. Yep.
You know, that's another interesting thing that I heard is like you have your life plan that you follow or not, that's your choice, right?
Yeah.
But you have your life plan established, and then like when the life plan is over, well, you got the choice of exiting. You can stay, but then now like your guides have to help you to make this new life plan, right? Like in addition to your life plan. And that's, you know, because like it seems like when you're on the other side, like you play with it, right? Like you play scenarios and you're like, okay, well, if I do this, this is what's gonna happen, or blah blah blah, and then like, oh no, let's scratch all that and then let's start over. Until like you made this perfect, that you think, life plan for your evolution, and then you're just a character, and then like, you know, play in it, right?
Yeah. And the other part, the other part of it too is that it's not just for your evolution. It's like it's for the collective too. You know, it's for everyone. Even though you're having this temporary individual experience, it really isn't about being individual.
Right.
It's about filling in a piece that interlocks and interacts with everybody else's pieces.
Yeah, and the other thing, like, you know, we say, oh, we have the choice to come back and reincarnate.
Yeah.
But in the same time, what I heard, it's like, you know, there's only so many bodies, right, that reincarnate on planet Earth. And then like you need to have like a really good life plan to be here. And I was like,
yeah,
wow.
yeah,
You know?
humanity needs your life plan.
Yeah, and your life plan has to be worth it.
Yeah. In order to take humanity to where it needs to go, those individual life plans need to be like they're all very important and very necessary,
Yeah.
you know, and the other side of it is too, because of choice and awareness, not everybody is going to choose to live out their life plan,
No.
you know, because that's not a requirement. That's the fuzzy part of the whole thing.
Well, yeah, that's why we have free will, right?
Yeah. Well, we have free will, but we also have awareness or not awareness.
Yeah.
So, yeah. When I kind of became aware that my life was a part of this massive cosmic intention, just that idea changed everything for me.
Yeah.
You know, all of a sudden I realized that my life wasn't mine
Mm-hmm.
as an individual. My life doesn't really belong to me. My life actually belongs to humanity. And that's where the service thing comes in.
And that's why I'm curious, like, you know, I'm not interested in, per se, like dragging my feet and then just drag myself through this life anymore. But really, like, where do I fit in? Right? I come to this realization, like, maybe I didn't come here just to do what I do right now.
Yeah. Or
Right?
maybe you didn't come here to even fit in.
Yeah, well, yeah, we're not from here, so yeah, we're not here to fit in. Yeah.
Yeah. But
But it's just like,
we are here to create something.
yeah, we're all creator, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, are we creating something for the whole? Are we creating something individual?
Yeah.
Or
well, and creating something that only we can create, right?
Yeah.
You know, your genius isn't my genius.
Right.
So I can only create with my genius, and that's the other side of it too. When I combine my genius with yours, holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
And you start catching on to that, and it's like, oh my. Okay, we're here to create. We're here to create the new reality. Period.
Yeah.
You know, in conjunction with each other. That's the cool part.
Yeah. Yeah, I come to this conclusion that I shouldn't be forcing anything.
No.
Right? If I force something, it's because it's not in alignment with myself.
Yeah.
Because what is, it's effortless. It's,
yeah.
You know.
See, the heart of source desires all this too.
Yeah.
And so like we can piggyback on that massive desire that's already there, that's been there since the beginning of time, and combine with that too. You know, call that what you want to call it, cosmic intention or the heart of God or
Mm-hmm.
or creativity.
talking about geniuses, have you find anything else regarding my gene key or my chart?
Look at it quick. Did I? Yeah, you sent me a graphic, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it's on Messenger. Just 4 numbers, right? That thing.
Yeah. Okay. Do you tell me what the number of the sphere at the top is again?
Okay, give me 1 second.
Oh, there it is.
You got it?
43. Yeah, 43, 23. Oh yeah. 43, 23, 4, and 49. You're gonna love this. Because this is just what we've been talking about today. This is great. To share revolutionary ideas and possibilities that have the power to transform the way people think.
Yeah, we talk about that.
That is so sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I keep doing that.
Yep. So your big thing is to serve the world by sharing new ideas that awaken planetary consciousness. So you're all about sharing what awakens, sharing light.
Yeah, that's why I keep telling Kai, you're not your body, you're not your mind, you're not your emotion.
Yeah.
You know,
So
and he smiled at me. It's so funny.
yeah. Well, he knows this already.
Oh yeah.
He knows you. He knows your energetics. He already knows that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm
other
putting
thing I'm
words to
like-
it, but he already knows it conceptually. That's the freaky part of it, right?
Yeah.
He knows you
And
better
I-
than you know yourself, probably.
Oh, I know, and I want him to tell me.
Yeah.
You know, I keep asking him like, why did you choose me?
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
Why did you choose me?
Oh, I'm so happy for you, man. Oh man. You know, that whole thing, that whole interaction between you and him is such a blessing. Just to be able to observe that. It's so friggin' wonderful, man.
Yeah, and be able to speak his language, you know?
Yeah.
You know, part of it. You know? I'm sure I'll keep learning from him.
Oh wow. Okay, I just looked up your radiance sphere.
Okay.
And your radiance sphere is gate 14, possibility.
Gate 14,
Gate
possibility.
4. Gate
Gate
4.
4.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's your design sun. It's where the sun was about 90 days before you were born. And it's your radiance in Gene Keys language. It's what radiates from you. What radiates from you is learning to use an idea that's a possibility as a seed for the imagination, and to use your imagination to create an emotional response that calibrates to the heart.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, say that again.
Okay.
I'll let it land this time.
Yeah, you create imagination seeds that cause an emotional response that calibrates the heart. So you radiate this ability to calibrate people's hearts. Wow. That's a very high inspiration thing to be radiating for people. Seeds of imagination that calibrate the heart, calibrate people's hearts.
Through emotion.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yeah. Emotional responses. Yeah. So, we've been talking about recalibrating a lot the past few months, about all these energies that are recalibrating everything, and our bodies are adapting to the new higher frequency energies that are developing.
Yeah.
Okay. That has a lot to do, calibration has a lot to do with emotional responses, because probably the most intense energies that we feel in our human bodies are emotional energies. So it's kind of calibrating that. Yeah, you know how to calibrate those emotional energies to people's hearts and help. Yeah. You know how to balance those emotional energies inside the heart. Wow. I want to do retreats with you, man. you're a great guy to have on that team. Oh man. Yeah.
Well, you as well. Holy shit.
Yeah, because people. Because with an ability like that, you're going to see a lot of people transforming in real time, right in front of your eyes. I mean, and a whole room full of people will just be dumbfounded. And these are possibilities, not answers.
Right.
So you could even say the emotions of possibility. Yeah, sit with that one. I wonder what the emotion of possibility, what it looks like, what it feels like. Yeah. I'm inviting you to contemplate that today. I wonder what the emotion of possibility could be. You're gonna have fun today, man.
Yeah.
That's a good one to park with. Oh man. Yep.
Absolutely.
Take that one up to the point and make out with it.
Yeah. Well, I know my mind cannot contemplate it.
No.
You know, I already tried, and then like that doesn't make sense at all. Nothing add up here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not for you to understand.
I wonder
That's
what
why-
the emotional, yeah, I wonder what the emotion of possibility could be. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff's going to be popping up in your awareness today, Pascal.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Good. I'm glad I was moved to go in that direction for you today. Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be sweet.
Yeah, and I had the desire of like knowing, or yeah, teachability index was really high on that.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, that's why I like the I wonder question,
Mm-hmm.
because it's just so open. It's an invitational question.
Yeah. Oh, I wonder what else is possible for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
There's the vastness when you ask a question like this. It's infinite.
Well, the thing is, what I shared with you today, it's in your nature. It's in your nature to be very intimate with the emotion of possibility. That's in your nature.
Mm.
And so as you get intimate with what possibility feels like and what it means to you, you can demonstrate that, and you can draw other people into that feeling. So can you imagine stepping into the feeling of that end result? That the feeling of possibility in its fullness. Can
Yeah.
you see what a motivation that would be? What a magnetic pull that kind of emotional energy is, the energy of possibility.
Mm-hmm.
Like that really pulls the elastic band way back. It creates a huge tension.
Oh yeah.
You know, I mean, you can't, when you're in that end result, you can't help but transform. There's no other option.
Yeah.
It's like it's that big. You know,
Right.
it's that intense. It's that energetic. So it's like, oh. Yeah. Yeah, and you can teach that.
Make people heart dancing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Ignite the fire inside of them.
Yeah. Wow, it's already 8:45. I can't believe it.
Oh, is
Oh
it?
boy. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I'm gonna have to shut this
No
off.
worries. No, like, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah. I
you.
gave you something to chew on for a few hundred hours anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. The emotion of possibility. I wonder what that is. Yeah,
It feels really open, free,
Yeah.
expanding.
it fits you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's been shut down for a long time.
yeah, yeah. I'm just sensing that your heart is in communion with possibility. Yeah. Whatever that might mean.
Right. Yeah, it means a lot to me.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's going to mean more every day too. Wow.
Yeah, it's like rediscovering what is, right?
Yep.
That expanding state. No limitation. Just creation.
Yep. So, guys, I'm going to check out. Thank you for sharing stillness with me today.
Yeah, well, stillness was really moving.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Isn't it interesting? It's stillness. Stillness is a dynamic. It's not. It doesn't stand still.
No.
There's huge dynamic energy happening inside it.
Yeah, there's
Which
a lot of
seems to
moving.
be a paradox, but it's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, thank you guys, for all your contribution. And yeah, ignite my fire even more. I'm pretty lit up.
Yeah, one of these days I'll get to yours, Jesse.
Sounds good.
Yeah, we've touched on it a number of times, but not directly. So
That's your genius.
yeah, this one just popped out for Pascal today, though. So oh man, yeah. But I think Pascal is because you asked. So anyway.
Ask and you shall receive, right?
Hey Jesse, did you send me your profile, the picture of it?
Yeah, I did.
Did you? Okay.
I can.
I'll dig it out again.
All right.
Okay. Big love, you guys.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Big
Oh,
love.
boy. Had a really good time today.
Mm-hmm.
All
It's
right,
funny,
have a
it
great one.
started slow. It started slow, but like we build momentum,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know? Yeah. And we just scratched the surface.
Yeah. For some reason, silence is a really good starting spot because something kind of blooms from in there.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Big love. Bye.